All right, so I did promise you guys that I was going to cover Star Wars Celebration 2025 from Japan, and that I was going to give you my thoughts on the announcements that they did over there in Japan for Star Wars Celebration. Kind of cool stuff, you know. I wouldn't say anything is earth shattering. My issue is that in the Kathleen Kennedy era, which is ending soon, thankfully, there's announcements and then nothing ever comes out because there's some kind of disagreement with the director, the project gets shelved. It's very frustrating. So I do hope that these things do actually come out. So I'm looking at this website right here, we got this covered.com, and they're supposed to basically have all the information summarized, and I'll give you my thoughts. New information on the Mandalorian and Grogu. Now, there it says Jon Favreau will direct, and it's going to be a feature length fourth season of the TV show. So the story might get wrapped up. Now, the talk amongst a lot of the leakers is that this is going to feel more like a side quest. It's going to be Mando and Grogu and one of the Hutts going on an adventure. So it's not going to really tie into the main Star Wars. Like, it'll still be in the Disney canon, but it won't tie into any other projects. If that's the case, that'll be a big disappointment, I think. And they even talk about, like, you know, Sigourney Weaver's in the movie. And it says here, Jeremy Strong will play Rota, the buff gladiator's son of Jabba the Hutt. And that's what I'm worried about. I don't mind the character, but if there's no, if it's just a side quest, that feels more like what season 3 was. Now, Star Wars Starfighter, this is Sean Levy's movie starring Ryan Gosling. I'm a big fan of Ryan Gosling's movies. A new standalone story coming from a galaxy far, far away. Star Wars Starfighters coming to theaters Memorial Day 2027. So, 2 years away. But again, every time I see an announcement from these people, I don't know if it's actually going to happen. What happened to the Rey movie? I would rather see this. There's not really any details about what this story is going to be, Star Wars Starfighter. But you know what I would like? If they took the premise, or at least took like inspiration from a film called The Last Starfighter that came out in the 80s. I would love it if they did something like that. I really would. Sean Levy, of course, directed Deadpool and Wolverine. So, and it says that Star Wars Starfighter is the first movie set after the rise of Skywalker, a new characters and a new adventure. So probably new villains too. They talk about something that Gosling said. Okay, now this is the project that really kind of piqued my interest here. It says Maul, Shadow Lord announcement. The fandom for the Shadow Lord has already begun. Maul Shadow Lord is a new animated series coming to Disney Plus in 2026. So, Dave Filoni project starring Darth Maul. It says here, coming out in the final moments of the Lucasfilm Animation Showcase, the animated Disney Plus show focuses on the Phantom Menace villain Darth Maul and will show him training an apprentice. So that sounds kind of like the idea that George Lucas had for the sequel trilogy, except this will probably take place way prior to that because Obi-Wan killed Darth Maul in Star Wars Rebels. He goes on to say, the Star Wars animation mastermind Dave Filoni is behind the show with longtime Maul voice actor Sam Witwer, of course, like it has to be Sam Witwer, reprising the role. Further details are unknown, though it will premiere in 2026. Yeah, I mean, look, I tend to like most of the Filoni stuff. I did not really get that into like the Bad Batch. I saw some of the episodes, but I thought there were almost too many of them and I could never finish it. But I was enjoying it when I saw it, but it just wasn't like must-see TV. However, I'm hoping with this Darth Maul series that it gets stuff cranking. And Darth Maul is an infinitely more interesting character, in my opinion, than The Bad Batch, especially with a lot of the stuff that Filoni's written for Maul for the Clone Wars and Rebels. Disney Plus show update says Dave Filoni confirms that he's still working with Mortis and the World Between Worlds in Ahsoka. Yeah, Ahsoka season 2 is supposed to be coming, and we saw like the little teaser at the end of season 1 where Anakin's there as a ghost, and of course he'll be involved. There's rumors of an Obi-Wan ghost showing up. I don't know how they're going to finagle that, considering that when we saw the Obi-Wan ghost previously, it was in Return of the Jedi, and it was Sir Alec Guinness playing it. So either they're going to do some kind of like deep fake Alec Guinness, or they're going to bring in, they could, I mean, I don't know if they will, bring in Ewan McGregor. So that's a possibility. I don't see why, because I don't think Obi-Wan's really tied into this story. But if it is the World Between Worlds, they can probably figure something out. Yeah, I don't know. I just remember that when Anakin appeared, what I said was, oh, I'm glad he appeared here and not to Kylo Ren or to Leia or to Luke to tell them that there's a secret base on the other side of the galaxy where Palpatine has a bunch of super Star Destroyers. It's so dumb, dude. That plot idea with Palpatine was so dumb because Vader knew about Exegol, and Vader even had his own Wayfinder, and you're telling me Anakin as a ghost couldn't have appeared to warn them? Stupid, man. That's his daughter and his son. So it says here, okay, this is for Andor. This is actually already started. Tony Gilroy and Diego Luna. I'm actually thinking about checking out Andor. I know it's going to tie into Rogue One. I'm thinking about checking it out. There is some controversy. I did a video about it, but maybe I'll just see if I like this one. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it gets played out. It says here that Ahsoka Season 2 will begin filming later this year. Star Wars Vision's third season's on the way. I actually didn't even know they did a second season. I'm behind, man. But I did a video shortly after The Acolyte ended about how I just don't really care that much about Star Wars anymore. Like, I'm just being honest. I like the old stuff, the original movies, some of the Filoni stuff, but I just don't like... Acolyte was the last straw for me as far as getting invested in this. So hopefully with new leadership coming through, they can have a direction and I can get reinvested in Star Wars again. So I got to check out that Vision Season 2 though, because that's something I didn't know. Now this is interesting. A new Darth Vader novel, Master of Evil, is set very shortly after the events of Revenge of the Sith. It says, okay, it's going to Twitter. This period is covered very well in Charles Soule's Marvel comic, except there are gaps in the comics, and there is a particular gap in the comic that I don't think Charlie or even Marvel know about. Okay, I haven't read the comic, so I can't comment on that. But hey, more Vader stuff is fine. I think that's it. Yeah, I know I'm a little late with this, but of all these announcements, it definitely seems like a less exciting Star Wars celebration. You know, I'm glad the Japanese fans got to experience the convention. But the Darth Maul show, I think, is the most interesting thing that was revealed. The Ryan Gosling, Sean Levy movie, I think that could be good. It really could. But they already announced a Filoni movie, that Rey movie, the Mangold like Jedi origin movie, and there's no update on it. Like, they didn't even tell us at Celebration, like, oh, it starts shooting this year. So once again, Star Wars just announces shit and never follows through. So How can I get excited for any of this if I don't even know if it's coming out? On top of the fact that I have a disdain and a distaste for what Star Wars has become. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just being real. Like, I don't want to hate this. Like, Star Wars was my favorite franchise growing up. I want to get excited. I want to get hyped up. I want to feel what I felt in the days of Force Awakens, where I was so on board and so excited that I was just chomping at the bit to see more Star Wars. That's gone, man. I'm waiting for like that Filoni movie that's supposed to tie up all like the Ahsoka, the Mandalorian, Boba Fett, like the Dark Empire movie or whatever you want to call it, with Thrawn as the lead villain. That I would love to see that. No update on it. So yeah, man. Well, that's the video. Leave your comments. I don't know how to feel about it, man. Does anybody else feel the way I feel? Please let me know. Take care.